Welcome back, YouTubers and Madden fans. This is MADDENMONEYSHOT, sniffing out the Madden cheese as always. Got a video today about X Factors. I know a lot of people are freaking out about how they think X Factors might overpower the game. They might be extremely cheap and cheesy. A lot of people have said as much that they think the skill gap will be back in Madden 20 based off of the fact that the X Factors are going to kind of accentuate that. Well, I've been going over a long list of X Factors, and I got to be honest with you. There are ones that look overpowered, and I want to make a video about that. Probably my next video will be the most overpowered X Factors. But in this video, I want to go over some X Factors that really seem to be geared towards the casual player. I say casual player because I want to be nice. Noob. But let's just say that players that aren't that good at the game, if you use these particular X Factors, they're going to dramatically improve your chances against good players. And in the past, there have been things that have really, Madden's designed games so that basically anybody can play. This time around, I think it's going to be a little bit different, but if you use these type of players with these type of X Factors, I think you won't skip a beat. And I think it might make it even easier for you. So if you're not great at any of these things, make sure you look for players on your team that have these X Factors. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get into some of these. Pretty much all of them are geared around the quarterback, which I think is one of the things that people have the most problem with. A lot of people, the quarterback position is pretty much half the game. You're playing as the quarterback. You might run the ball a little bit here and there on offense, but for the most part, you're playing as the quarterback, so that's the most important position. And like I said, it's one that a lot of people struggle with. So they've put a couple of things in here that really will make that portion of the game a lot easier for you. And it's ridiculous to the point that the way that they do this. I think the easiest one that I look at, and it's kind of ridiculous when I see it, is the X Factor Pro Reads. Now, what Pro Reads is that once you get into the zone and your ability is activated, it's super easy to get into the zone, by the way. All you have to do, it says, when I'm reading this, it says make multiple consecutive passes for 5+ yards. Now, it doesn't say complete. If it would say complete multiple passes, consecutive passes of 5+ yards, that's what I'm guessing that it means. But when it says make, does that mean that you just have to throw the ball more than 5 yards to get it? I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're both pretty easy, whether it's make or complete. You're only throwing the ball 5 yards. It's not that hard to complete a 5-yard pass. It's just marginally harder to complete a 5-yard pass than it is to just throw one. Once you do that, once you activate this ability, basically the first open receiver will be highlighted as long as you're standing in the pocket, which you should be. If you drop back 3 steps or whatever, the first receiver that is open will become highlighted, which basically is saying throw the ball to this guy.
I'm open!
How easy can the game be if it's basically you're just going to hit the button, hike the ball, drop back, and then the computer's going to say hit B, hit X, hit Y, hit triangle, whatever. It's going to tell you who to throw the ball to.
Over here!
Which, at that point, it probably doesn't even feel like you're playing the game. It's the first open receiver, too. So that's kind of subjective. I don't know what their definition of open will be. Whether it's a foot, a couple of yards separation, it's really hard to say for sure at this point. But if it gets to the point where people are becoming dependent on the computer telling them who to throw the ball to, it's just going to be kind of ridiculous. I don't, to me, it kind of reminds me of when you play COD and you had a scope that you could put on your gun where the whole screen was black. When you would look down scope, it would be black, but the people that just shoot at would come on the screen in this bright white color. So it was like basically, it was blurring your vision of everything except for the targets, which is kind of like what this is going to do. So I don't know. For people that play the game a lot, they're probably not going to lean towards this. But for people that struggle with knowing who to throw the ball to and stuff like that, this is going to be huge. I think this could make your 5-year-old nephew a good Madden player if he follows this correctly. And I think ultimately that's the point of it. EA wants to be inclusive. It wants to be all inclusive. It wants anybody that is willing to buy the game and spend money on MUT coins and all that stuff and buy cards and buy packs. They always want to be open to anybody that wants to play. So now that they've put in this super noobish training wheel style of quarterbacking play, it's going to basically enable anybody to be able to play it. Which, like I said, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just letting you guys know that that's out there. If you consider yourself not too great at that, at decision making, at playing quarterback, you're going to want to look for a quarterback that has pro reads. And obviously, some of the best quarterbacks in the game, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck, these guys are all listed as having that. Tom Brady in himself is a complete cheat code. He has what seems to be like the most most X factors in the game. Another one, which I'll go ahead and I'll talk about right now, is called Protected. Now, what Protected does, and at the moment I'm bringing it up because I'm talking about Tom Brady. He's the only person listed to have this. But basically, if you have Protected as an X factor, it basically makes your blocking better. I mean, who could ask for more, right? If you have this and it's activated, your blocking will be better. I mean, that's just perfect. You know what I mean? Like, who wouldn't want that? That's a lot of people's problems is they don't know how to navigate a blitz. They don't know how to move in a pocket so they can get the most out of their blocking. So go ahead and slap an X factor on there, so that makes it super easy and protected. There's nothing else I'm really going to go into about that. Probably the second easiest one on here other than pro reads to me that will, definitely come into play for people that, once again, aren't very good at decision making. They aren't very good at, throwing the ball to the open guy or picking the right guy. You may say you're throwing picks all the time, you know what I mean? Especially the computer defenders. That's where the second one comes in handy, and that's Gambler. Gambler, at the moment, I only see Aaron Rodgers has it, but basically what Gambler is, if you're getting picked off by AI defenders, and remember, there's 10 AI defenders, there's only one user defender. So if you're constantly throwing bad balls into computer defenders and they're picking you off, if you have Gambler and you activate it, you can no longer get picked off by AI defenders, which is basically going to put the game on the user you're playing, which a lot of people would be very comfortable with that. You know what I mean? Like, user defenders a lot of times are way better than computer defenders, but at least you know that I just have to stay away from that one guy that's roaming the middle, that one user, and it basically opens you up to the point where you're playing against the computer the rest of the way without the possibility of throwing picks. Once again, to activate this ability, all you have to do is complete consecutive passes, multiple consecutive passes of 5+ yards. I keep saying complete, even though it doesn't say that. It says make multiple consecutive passes for 5+ yards. So who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if that's it, it's even easier. The only way that you can lose this ability, though, is if you keep throwing it and you keep throwing incompletions. So even though it takes away the ability to get picked off while it's active, you still can't, take a bunch of dumb, decisions that keep throwing it into the crowd of whether it's AI or user defenders or not. You can't keep throwing incompletions or else you'll lose it. But at least you won't be getting picked off. I mean, that's the upside to that. And then the last one that's kind of in the same line of these first two that I talked about is called Blitz Radar. Basically, once again, putting the quarterback position on training wheels. Only Russell Wilson has this as far as we know right now, as far as the information that's out there. But basically, if you, when you enter the zone, anytime a blitzing linebacker or a blitzing defensive back comes in on a blitz, it's going to highlight it after the snap. So you already have the ability that will highlight the receiver to throw to. Now you have the ability that will highlight who's coming in on the blitz, which kind of doesn't help after the fact, if you want to know the truth about it, because you can't change anything at that point. I mean, if you're in play action, you could hit the RT button and you could break the play action so that you're running back a block. But that would be a little bit more helpful if it was pre-snap, so you can make some adjustments like blocking the tight end, blocking the running back. But I just wanted to point out another thing that they put into the game where they're basically, they're making it as simple as possible. They're going to be screaming at you, hey, cornerback's coming in, you know what I'm saying? So maybe you roll to the right, or maybe you try to take off. There's obviously options once you see that, but there's just so many things put in that put quarterback play on training wheels, to the point where you should, if you're not too good at playing quarterback, if you're not too good at playing the game, anybody should be able to do this once you have these X Factor abilities on. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, I didn't want to make a video breaking down all of the X Factors because I'm sure those videos are out there already. This information came out about a week ago when I was in Florida when it did, or I would have made videos about it. But basically, I made this video, and I'm also going to make a video basically breaking down the X Factors and saying which ones are the most important to have, which ones are going to be the most dominant, overpowered X Factors. And if you want to see that video, do me a favor with the like button, and I'll do that next. Other than that, thanks for watching, man. Shit out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.